Hello, beautiful people. So I decided to hop on here, shoot a video. It was a little impromptu, and let's just see what happened. So actually, prior to shooting this video, I shot another video of what I'm about to talk about, but it was so scattered. But it was good that I shot it because I got to see what I was feeling to talk about. So hopefully this is a little bit better. But I'm not going to redo it, so this is the final take. Okay, so I wanted to talk about how time is an illusion, that all happenings of movement in our linear physical sense is an illusion because it's all happening now. And so this was like a download that I've slowly digested, and I'm still piecing it together, but I wanted to get some of the pieces out, just because it helps me understand the concept a little bit more when I actually speak it out loud. So, how do I start? So, let's start with the movie Interstellar. If you've seen the movie Interstellar, but if you haven't, I'll still explain it. Towards the end of the movie, when he basically goes into this black hole, the main character in the movie. And long story short, I don't want to ruin the movie for you guys. Too bad, okay? So, I won't ruin the whole movie. But when he goes in the black hole and then he ends up in that area where there's the physical dimension or plane or wherever, where these other beings have made all the happenings of the now. So he was seeing things that have already happened, things that he's already perceived, and then seeing things that haven't happened. But it's all now. And so he was just perceiving, and he was going and moving through it and just exploring and seeing just the infinite possibilities that are always happening right now. And so I wanted to talk about how the physical sense is the illusion because we are perceiving what seems to be movement. And so this is only my experience, this is only my perspective. So use your discretion as you will. So I need a good analogy for this, and I was using bits before, but I don't remember all the bit rates. So for any nerds out there, you'll probably get this a little bit easier. Help me out with a good analogy in the comments. So you have a bunch of different bit rates. Let's just keep it simple. I don't remember the bit rates. It's like 126, 256, 368. I'm so bad at math. So let's just keep it 100, 200, 300, all the way to 1,000. So let's say you have 10 sections to move through, to move from one dimension to the other, right? You are stacking these sections together like puzzle pieces kind of thing. They're intertwined for you to move from one dimension to the next. So you, in a way, it's like you have a foot in the previous dimension that you were in, and then like half of your lower part of your body, this is a crude analogy, but it just kind of helps drive the point home. Your lower part of your body is in the other old dimension, the middle part is in the current dimension, and then the upper part and your head and the rest is in the next dimensions. You get what I mean? So you're kind of getting stringed along through this, so you're not fully in one dimension at a time until you reach a certain state of consciousness, I think. That just came to me now, so that's like unwavering focus type of thing, because our awareness is always going all over the place. It's not your mind, it's your awareness, right? And when your awareness is all over the place, you're just kind of going through all the different dimensions. And when you can keep it, very focused, you can stay within that one dimension and the whole body will stay there. And so the Buddha, he figured out, and I'm sure a lot of yogis figured this out too. I don't remember the number exactly, but I think it was 26,000. He figured out that somewhere along the line that we are reverberating in and out of existence 26,000 times a second. Something around there. And so in this concept that I'm trying to unravel still, we are moving through 26,000 dimensions every second. And so this is the other download. Each of those dimensions is stagnant. I don't know how to explain that, but like for me to open and close my hand, I've moved through so many dimensions of each one being stagnant, but it's perceived as a fluid movement. And so that one I still have to unpack. The stagnancy relating to fluidity. And so because it's all happening now and that the time is an illusion, you're just getting hooked up to the different points in the now that you are basically projecting out in your holographic universe from internally, right? And so the key to this game, I guess, in terms of the illusionary concept of time and the Maya, the illusion, is to have unwavering focus. So I was listening to Sam the Illusionist today, and I don't know why I did that. And so he was channeling the Palladians. And so one of his videos, they were saying focus on a single point in your body. I focused on this one point in my hands, and then sometimes it'd be one, and focus on both, and see how long you can focus on that point while going about your day. Very difficult for me. Every now and then, I forget all the time, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I start focusing on it, and it's amazing how much peace in it anchors me very quickly for some reason, because I'm kind of like all over the place, and I'm kind of out of my body a lot. It doesn't feel like I'm really standing on the ground still. It's usually why I wear red. I have garnet in my ear as well. Anyway, so when you have that unwavering focus, it helps almost like pool your consciousness into one point and then strengthen the consciousness. And so in this other video, the Palladians were saying this time that focus on your tongue, and your tongue is very, very sensitive. Focus on your tongue moving around, and keep your focus on your tongue and how it's going along your teeth and all of that. And I mean, they were saying if you do this long enough, you can even be enlightened. And I thought that was interesting. But that's that unwavering focus, right? Of staying on one type of, I don't know how to put it, if it's one type of plane. It's like maybe if you're not dimension hopping in that manner of like, oh, let me go see this and let me go see that, and you're just, but if you're just like there, I wonder, because you're not moving, and we are magnetic beings, that because you're not moving in that sense, you're reverberating these 26,000 times, you start to, I don't want to say weaken, but you start to tear the hole through the veil of the illusion. Because you're not moving, your awareness is getting sharper and sharper and sharper of whatever is there, right? So whatever is there, you're picking up more and more and more detail of the same thing. And I remember reading this quote is coming to mind now. It was like an Instagram quote, so you never know if it's real, but it was an interesting one. And I think it was the Buddha as well. I could be wrong, it could be Krishna, but I think it was the Buddha. And someone was asking him about enlightenment, this and that, or whatever. And he said that enlightenment is like the tip of your nose. And I thought that was so interesting. I mean, you can't see the tip of your nose just from, how you're looking around. But it's that single point of awareness as well. And so, I don't know, that one hit home for me in a weird kind of way, because I know that when I do chanting of the sound, it starts at the base, at your perineum, and if you do it properly, it goes all the way up, and then it goes into your nose. It doesn't go out the back of your head. It goes like in, and then down your nose, and it goes right there. So there's something there about the tip of your nose in terms of, I might be looking into that way too much, reading into that too much, but there's something there, because at the end of the all-encompassing sound, all sounds come from that we can make, that are, auditory. It ends on your nose, so it's that end point. Anyway, so when you are dimension hopping and you're going through the illusion without a certain type of awareness that is very single pointed, I guess I could say, for lack of a better word, you know what I mean? Like you're just focusing on one thing, and you just keep getting sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper, because you're not dulling yourself down through all of these other things. And so this is actually, in India they have something called, well, it came from India, I mean they teach it all around the world. In transcendental meditation you can learn your siddhis. I haven't learned them yet, but what I learned about them from a couple people is when you transcend and you get to this certain plane, and of this certain type of awareness where you're very still and there's no activity going on in terms of the mind. And what's the word? Ritambar pragya? I don't know. They named it in Sanskrit, but there's this plane that you go down to, and it's very close to the plane of the creator, I guess you could say. And so when you get to this plane, you can then place a desire. And then from this, you water this seed you plant, the seed of desire, with your awareness. And so I actually just had to make sure I was recording. I was scared. I was like, oh shit. Anyway, and so when you plant this seed with your awareness and you watch it grow, then you can go out of that experience, out of that awareness of the plane, and then come back to this type of conscious state in this manner, and that desire will have manifested. I mean, it's already manifested in that state, and then you are in the manifestation. That's why they call it, what do they say? The flying, there's something, the flying cities, where, the people are actually off the ground flying. This is a real thing. And so there's a point I'm trying to drive home here. In terms of you reverberating in and out of different dimensions 26,000 times, when you're steadfast on staying in one state, I guess you could say, your manifestation will have to happen because you're not moving. Because we are here to create, right? This is like our playground of creation. This is our holographic universe. We know in terms of how math works that you actually are the center of your own universe, right? So everybody's the center of their own universe, which is really interesting. Another perspective, you're not, but because there is a galactic core. But in another perspective, you are, because the galactic core is within you. And so, sidebar, I've been connecting to the galactic core lately. Amazing. It's so different. Just play with that if you want. Galactic core. See what happens when you close your eyes and you say galactic core. It is so cool. Anyway, manifesting through time with unwavering focus will result in manifestations happening at God's speed because you are closer to quote-unquote God, our creator, which is within us, and you break down the veil of the illusion of the Maya of the time by having single-pointed awareness. You can have anything you want. But at that point, when you get there, you probably won't even have to desire anything because you know you're everything. Wow, that's interesting. That's why the yogis always say, like, let everything go. You know, people start holding on to pictures and this and that. I always see my mom always holding on to pictures, and she gets really sad if, like, a memory card with a lot of stuff gets lost or corrupted or whatever. But, like, I remember hearing this story. I don't remember the story. But at the very end, the yogi said to this woman who was just asking, what do I do with all this stuff and blah blah blah, and he said, well, is it going to be there when you're dead, you know, when you transition? She was like, well, no. So he's like, well, what do you need it for? It's kind of like, you know, the Jains, where they don't really have any type of material possessions. But it's very wholesome in that sense because you're not crippling yourself by attaching a sentimental value or your power or whatever to something outside of you. Because if you don't really have any material possessions, naturally you're very introvertedly extroverted. You know what I mean? So anyway, I think that was the download. Yeah, it's about 20 minutes almost. So, unwavering focus. Each dimension seems to be, in my experience, like a screenshot. And you're just, it's like a stop motion film, except very fluid. And we also know our brain kind of mixes the frames together to create a smooth image. We actually know that. How the fuck we know that? I don't know. But yeah. I hope you all are having a blessed night. And for anyone who did not get the download, leave me a comment below and let me know where I lost you. Okay? Okay.